everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name's Sophie and I would love it if you hit that big red subscribe button down below. So for this video I thought I would talk to you all about all of the ways in which I learn Spanish, recommend some resources to you all which I personally use, and give you some tips as well for learning Spanish. So yeah, I've decided to separate this video into like separate chapters. I'll leave the timestamps down below in the description box if you want to go check those out, so you can skip to the parts of the video which you would find most useful. And yeah, without further ado, I'll get into all of the resources and the tips. Okay, so first of all I want to talk about courses and classes, because if you're learning a language it's good to have some sort of structure, some sort of routine, and maybe having classes at a specific time each week or following some sort of course gives you that structure and that routine. So obviously if you've been watching my channel for a while, you all know that I study Spanish at university, so obviously that's the main place that I get my structure and my routine from, and when I speak to teachers and stuff, and obviously that might not be the best option for all of you. Maybe you don't want to study Spanish at university, or maybe you're not at school, but I can help you because I have tried some other courses as well. And one course which I can recommend to you is a brand new course created by Nate from Nate's Adventures on YouTube. It's called Sabe Spanish. When you sign up you get a lifetime access, so you can go over the lessons again and again. It's a beginner's Spanish course, but it's great for people that just want to go over the basics as well, because I'm not a beginner. I've tried it. Sometimes I still forget the rules behind ser and estar and por and para and just basic Spanish grammar things. Sometimes I just need to go over those for a second, and yeah, that's why that course is great. And it's short video lessons. Each lesson is followed by a worksheet. The worksheets, they go over everything that you've covered in those lessons, give you some vital vocab as well, even include a son, so you can hear Spanish in your own time, hear a son and expose yourself to the Spanish language, which is a tip that I will give you all. Expose yourself to the Spanish language as much as you can, and Nate gives you that tip as well. He gives you tips at the beginning of his course, and there's quizzes as well. Forgot to mention the quizzes, so you can test everything that you went over in each of the lessons. The first part of the course is free, so you can try it and see if you like it before making any financial commitments. I've got an affiliate link to the course down below if you do want to sign up, so I'll leave that down below in the description box. And yeah, that's the course that I can recommend to you. On top of that, I've also tried italki, had some lessons with italki. I really like italki because you can choose your own teachers, and I like them just for conversation practice. Just a class with a teacher for conversation practice. I don't do them all the time because I am a broke student, it hurts my wallet, and at the moment I've been very busy working on my dissertation, so I haven't had time to do any extra classes. Yeah, but I do like them a lot, and I have an affiliate link for that as well, which I'll also leave down below in the description box. But don't worry, I won't be plugging any more affiliate links for the rest of this video. Okay. Okay, so resources for listening. Well, obviously if you want to speak another language, you kind of need to be able to understand it. Spoken language as well as just be able to speak it and write it. You need to be able to understand what native speakers are saying, and well, non-native speakers as well. So listening is great, and I recommend that you listen to as much stuff as possible, because not only do you learn to understand different accents and learn to understand spoken Spanish, you also start to pick up new vocabulary. You hear words come up time and time again and you start to memorize them because you're constantly hearing them, and start to memorize certain phrases. So it really helps, and there's so much stuff that you can listen to without it feeling like a chore. So yeah, listen to as much stuff as you can in Spanish to immerse yourself in the Spanish language. And I'm going to give you my recommendations of, well, where I find stuff to listen to and what I listen to. Okay, so first of all, of course, this one was going to come up. You probably all know about it already, but yeah, Netflix. Netflix has so many stuff in Spanish on it these days, not just series, films. Literally, I think I study 3 languages and I can find way more stuff in Spanish than I can in German and French. So, you know, really utilize that, really utilize Netflix. I'll leave a link to a video up here in which I talk about all of my favourite Spanish shows. But yeah, since then, there's been so many more Spanish content coming out on Netflix, so much more stuff in Spanish. So that may be a bit outdated, but hey, it gives you some to start watching, you know? Also, of course, obviously, there's YouTube. You all know about YouTube because you're using it right now. I have made a video on, I've made 2 videos actually on Spanish speaking YouTubers. Maybe I'll just leave my Spanish language playlist up here and you can find that and on there and find the previous video that I mentioned on there. So yeah, really do take advantage of YouTube. Music. How could I forget about music? I mean, I've already mentioned the fact that Nate's course includes a song in each of his worksheets, which I thought was an amazing touch because I love listening to Spanish music to learn Spanish. You can literally learn so much from songs. When you find a song that you really, really love in Spanish, get the lyrics up and go through it, look up any new words that you don't know, and then just keep listening to the song again and again, and you'll end up memorizing those new words and you'll start using them in your writing and your conversation. And yeah, I've also made a video on Spanish music that I like. I'll leave it up here, but I'm not sure if you will be able to see it because I think it's blocked in certain countries because I played like a snippet of 2 songs from Rosalia, and I thought it'd be fine because I see people play little snippets of songs all the time, but no, I got a copyright complaint. Yeah. Oh well, we move on. We don't play any more songs from Rosalia again. Well, we listen to them in our own time, but we don't play them on YouTube. Speaking of music, I also want to recommend Lyrics Training. They have a website and an app as well. I prefer the website because I think if you want to play more than 3 games on the app per day, it makes you sign up for premium and pay. But on the website there doesn't seem to be any limit. At least I've never got told that I've played too many songs and need to pay now. So I personally prefer just to use the website. But basically it's just fill in the gaps games, training your listening skills because you're listening to songs in Spanish and thinking what word goes there, what did I hear. So yeah, and they have different levels: beginner, intermediate, advanced. So as you get more confident you can up it a notch. So yeah, take it up a notch, not up it a notch. Did I forget how to speak English for a second? I'm always forgetting how to speak English. And podcasts. I can only recommend one podcast because I think I've only really listened to one Spanish podcast. I really need to try out some more, but the podcast that I can recommend to you is Coffee Break Spanish. I really like this podcast because it's nice and simple. Every season is like a different level. So season 1 is for beginners, season 2 is for like, I'm guessing lower intermediate. Obviously season 3 is for upper intermediate, season 4 is for advanced, and so on. So you just need to check before you listen to any of them on Spotify whether it's the right level for you. But I love how they have the podcasts in different levels. When I was looking for Spanish speaking podcasts, I think the first one I clicked on I was like, this is too easy, and the second one I clicked on I was like, this is too hard, and then I found Coffee Break Spanish and I was like, they actually have different seasons, different levels, so it was like perfect for me. I could find the content that was the right level for me. So yeah, I highly recommend Coffee Break Spanish, and it's really simple and basic and easy to understand, but you still learn from it. And lastly, for resources that I use for listening is Euronews. I'm sorry if any of you have watched my French resources video as well, because, you know, some of these are kind of repetitive, Euronews being one of them. But Euronews, you've probably guessed it, it's a news site. So yeah, it's a website and they have news clips. They also have just some articles, but I prefer to watch the news clips because we're practicing those listening skills. And yeah, they have the news clips and then followed by a text, so you can watch the video and then test what you've understood by reading the text. And yeah, they have multiple different languages, so just make sure when you click on Euronews that you click up on the bit that says English, because when you click on it, I'm assuming yours will come up in English. Actually, mine probably just comes up in English because I'm in the UK. But yeah, when you just make sure you change the language, but they have it in Spanish. So yeah, highly recommend Euronews. It's very useful and the clips are very short. So yeah. Grammar! We all love grammar, don't we? Yeah, grammar's a bit boring and repetitive, but we gotta learn grammar. We need to learn grammar to, you know, be able to speak a language. We need to understand the basic rules, otherwise it's not gonna make sense. We'll be saying stuff and it won't make sense, you know? People won't know if we're talking about something that happened in the past or in the future if we don't use the correct grammars. So, sorry, you're gonna have to learn it. That's just an example, but yeah. So for grammar, I like to use studyspanish.com. I think that's what it's called. I get studyspanish.com confused with howtostudykorean.com and sometimes call it howtostudyspanish.com, but it's not. It's studyspanish.com. I use that for grammar, just for going over like explanations and doing exercises. I only use like the free version of it. There are stuff on there that you can pay for, but so far I've been able to do enough of the free exercises and that's been enough for me. I know most of the basics of Spanish grammar anyway, it's just that I forget stuff from time to time and I need to go over them, like irregular verbs, I'm always forgetting, irregular conjugations, and yeah, like I said earlier, ser and a star, pour and para, always forgetting those, so confusing. Ugh. But yeah, highly recommend that site just for finding quick exercises just to go over grammar points. I think that's all I mentioned for grammar. Now for learning vocabulary, I use 3 different things. 2 of them I actually mentioned in my resources I use for learning French videos, so I will mention those 2 last, just in case you've already seen that video, so you don't have to sit and listen to that again. So yeah, I'll talk about Spanish dip first. It's actually a dictionary, as you can probably guess from the dit at the end, but they also just have some vocabulary lists on there which are good as well. And also they have like this thing, if you get the app on your phone, you can set it up to get a word a day. I'm really bad at remembering to check this every day because it always goes off at 9 AM and 9 AM I'm usually like in the shower, so yeah, I really need to get in the habit of checking it, but you can go back on and you can see it. Yeah, palabra el dia, and I can click on it and it tells me that today it's, oh, is it gonna play?
Calabozo.
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 But that's the Spanish pronunciation, and what I love is that if you're learning Latin American Spanish and not Spanish as it's spoken in mainland Spain, you can change it to Latin American Spanish and hear that. You can hear the you can hear the difference, although I guess that's just a general Latin American accent because there's so many accents in Latin America and there's a lot of accents in Spain as well. But yeah, I highly recommend that. Oh, and that means dungeon, by the way, in case you're interested. And And also for learning vocabulary, I use Anki, which you've probably all heard of already because I know it's very popular with language learners and polyglots on YouTube. I'm not actually a polyglot, I'm a wannabe polyglot, but still it's very popular and for good reason, because you can basically put in your own words, create your own decks, and it's like flashcards. But when you answer a question, it asks you if you found it hard, if you found it quite easy, okay to remember, if you found it easy to remember, and then based on your answer, then Anki will decide when it shows that word to you again. So if I put like hard, or like I couldn't get it at all, then it'd be like, I'll show it to you again in 10 minutes time from now. If I put like good and it's the first time I've seen that word, then it'll be like, no, if I put hard it'd be like 1 minute. I'm getting confused, but basically if I say it's like really easy, Anki will be like, oh, I'm not going to show that word to you until 4 days time. And then if I still find it easy the next 4 days later, I'll be like, I'm not going to show it to you now until 9 days time, to the point where it's not showing certain words to you until like, I don't know, like a month or maybe even longer than that. I don't think I've got that far because I always start to forget words. But yeah, I like the fact that it's not like, it's different to memorize and Quizlet, because it only shows you the words again that you've forgotten. Basically it knows that yeah, it knows which words you struggle with and it shows you those ones, and it's free to download on as a desktop app, so it's perfect. And then I also use Drops for learning vocabulary. Drops I don't like as much as Anki because it's just, I'm not choosing the words I learn. Well, I am choosing to some extent because they have like different topics and I'm choosing what topics I want to learn. But obviously it's not, you know, my own words. But I love Drops because it's quick and easy, something I can do on the go. I have the app on my phone. You only get to do 5 minutes a day if you don't pay for the free version, which is fine. I feel like 5 minutes is a good amount of time. You can't finish any of the topics in 5 minutes though. The only thing that does annoy me is it's 5 minutes in total, not 5 minutes per language, so I can't study Spanish for 5 minutes, then go study German for 5 minutes. Just like 5 minutes and that's all. So I also recommend that you read in Spanish as much as you can. Reading is great for learning new vocabulary and seeing written Spanish, how it's written, seeing different grammatical structures. I love it. And also, depending on what you choose to read, it could be quite fun, because if you choose to read something that you're interested in, then that's going to be quite fun, right? You know, if you're really interested in history and you choose to, I don't know, read something about history in Spanish, that's good. If you're really interested in romance novels and you choose to read a romance novel in Spanish, like, that's going to be interesting. So that's good. I can't really recommend anything like super beginner friendly because, well, I can recommend you find like an easy reader in Spanish, like a book that's designed for people learning Spanish, like short stories for Spanish learners or something like that. I know, oh, what's his name? Español con Han? Español con... Why can't I pronounce that name? I'm studying Spanish. But yeah, I know that he's created some of these books for like different learners. Like, I think he's got one for A1, A2, B1, B2. But I haven't used those books, so I can't recommend them, but I know that he has and I like his YouTube channel, so they're probably good. All the books that I've read in Spanish have been for like native speakers, which is great once you get to a kind of more advanced level. Those are great. I think my favourite book so far that I've read in Spanish is La Sombra del Viento. But yeah, it's like quite big, it's like 500 pages, so it can be very daunting to a Spanish learner. Only reason I decided to read it was because I had to read a book that was for a native speaker for university, and I was trying to find something that was interesting, and out of all the books that I was finding, that's the one that just seemed the most interesting for me, so I decided to read it despite the fact that it was like 500 pages long. Yeah, probably wouldn't recommend you start with something like that. Como Agua para Chocolate is quite easy to read, and that's one that I know, like in the UK, a lot of Spanish students read. That was the first book that I read in Spanish. but I don't like it. I find it very weird. The ending's very weird, and it keeps switching between, like, I don't really want to go into the details of it. You can look it up. I find it very weird. The film, there's a film, and that was also very cringy to watch. It literally made me cringe, but it's easy to understand. So yeah, that's probably the most basic Spanish book that I've read. But even then, you know, that might be too hard for, you know, well, would definitely be too hard for beginners. I would say that's kind of intermediate, maybe more upper intermediate. So yeah, I don't really have any book recommendations for beginners, but go have a look. Just, you can literally put it in on Amazon. Spanish short stories in Spanish for beginners, or something, or for intermediate readers, and I'm sure you'll find something. And finally, I'm going to talk about speaking Spanish, because, well, if you want to learn Spanish, you know, you've probably guessed that at some point you're going to have to speak to someone, and the more that you speak to people in Spanish, the more confident you're going to get speaking it. Also, the less you're going to have to think while speaking. You're going to start to speak a lot more fluently. So definitely when you do, you know, try and push yourself and start speaking as soon as you can. I really recommend that, and yeah, do try and find people to speak with. Obviously, if you've got no one to speak with at all, maybe try something like italki classes, so that you have a teacher who you can speak with. But probably the best thing to do, especially if you don't want to spend money, is find a tandem partner, which, you know, can be quite hard if you don't know anybody who speaks Spanish and who is trying to learn your mother tongue, or I don't know, another language that you speak, not necessarily your mother tongue, but one that you speak fluently. So yeah, but Tandem is a good app that I can recommend for finding someone to speak to. Yeah, highly recommend that. And as per usual, I've rambled on way too much, and I think I even stopped looking at the camera at one point and started looking God knows where. So sorry about that. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it and if you found it useful. Comment down below if you think that there are any resources that I've left out, if you have any recommendations, because it really helped other people, not just me. So yeah, and follow me on Instagram and all of that lovely stuff. Oh, subscribe, I forgot to mention subscribe. Please do go subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.